What is going on, everybody? Happy Monday. It is episode 876 of Pop Culture Crisis. My name is Brett, and I am here with my co-host. Introduce yourself, please.
Hello, Crisis Actors. It's Mary. On this rainy Monday, we are cozy in the studio once again. I actually started off my Monday with a matcha, because it's Matcha Monday.
Is that what it's going to be called from now on?
Yeah, I'm whisked up. So, for me, every Monday is Matcha Monday.
She has explained matcha to me like 3 times. I still have no idea what it is. I just know that men are not supposed to drink it.
Take a wild guess?
Nope.
As to what matcha is?
Nope, I've already forgotten. I know that men shouldn't drink it.
It is a type of tea.
Okay. Well, I didn't know that.
It's in a powder form.
Okay.
And you take this whisk called a chasen, and you whisk it into a fine paste, and the paste is then mixed in with water or milk and into a latte. Okay. And look, it's lovely.
I already admit that I don't drink a lot of coffee, but like if they get coffee here at work sometimes, Tim will get Starbucks. I will sneak over there and I will take
never seems to get any matcha.
And I will take a cold brew. The last time I was over there, I missed the cold brew by a couple of minutes. There was only like these like blue and red drinks that
the summer berry refresher or whatever thing.
Didn't look like my I mean, a year ago that would look like my thing. 2 years ago that would look like my thing. Now it's just now.
I would have taken Tim for a matcha enjoyer, but I could be wrong.
We'll have to ask him. Like, hey, do you ever like partake in matcha?
Are you a matcha man?
Wait, does that mean that there could be like cast brew matcha someday?
Oh, that would be cool. I did ask about that, but actually, like, obviously the suppliers for that are not the same as coffee, and there is a matcha shortage at the moment.
Why?
Really serious.
What causes the matcha? Like the ingredients are just hard to find?
I don't know. Maybe it has something to do with like climate change.
That could be what it is.
You can always just blame that.
I watched a 2-hour. So I put this on X last night. I said I watched Tenet twice, and then I watched a 2-hour video on YouTube explaining Tenet. And it still doesn't make any sense.
Nothing.
It does. The stuff about time inversion makes sense to me, but
summarize Tenet in one sentence so that I can get it.
No.
One sentence.
I'm not doing that. I wouldn't be able to do it. Like, you have to, like, what do they say? They say, like, someone's an expert when they can explain something simply. I can't explain Tenet simply. And here's the thing. It took the guy 2 hours to explain it.
I still stand that Peloton instructor who was like, I watched Tenet last night. What the fuck was that?
That's what I was thinking about while I was watching it.
And then it was actually, it was the director's Peloton instructor, wasn't it?
Maybe. Christopher Nolan's Peloton instructor?
I think that Nolan actually like saw it because he was doing the Peloton. I could be making that up, but maybe I added that in later on. We have a 20 from Weary Traveler. Saw Superman Friday night and enjoyed it. 8 out of 10 IMO, and I didn't get anything woke from it.
Yep, that's why I don't use that word, bro. That's because
somebody's gonna attack you.
Somebody's gonna, so I did a short. I don't know if it's posted yet, but I did a short on Superman related to. I did 2. I did one about Trump posting the Superman meme, which was ultra cringe when everybody's mad at him. But I also did one. But I also did one about James Gunn's Superman, and it's like, look, that's like the lowest rated video on our channel. Me liking Superman was extremely controversial. People are like, well, you know what, Brett? How about F you?
Yeah, but like people will get mad at you for both sides. Yeah. If you say that it's woke, they'll say that you're wrong. If you say it's not woke, they'll say that you're wrong. If you say you liked it, you're wrong. If you say you disliked it, you're wrong.
There's something comforting though about arguing about that stuff because it's not tied to whether you're whether you're a good person or not.
Can we have like a political compass where for movies where some of it's like top half is woke, bottom half is not woke, and then each quadrant is like liked it was woke, disliked it was woke. You can dislike something even if it's not woke. You can like something even if it's woke.
I can't think of any,
etc.
Any movies that we've seen that I disliked for reasons that I would have called woke, except for Indiana Jones, which I felt the female characterization of Phoebe Waller-Bridge's character was so annoying. I had to attribute it to that.
What did I like that was woke?
Oh, that was woke. I don't know.
Have you liked anything that you would say is woke?
Probably.
I think I kind of liked Barbie, or maybe I just liked the experience of going to see Barbie because of the anticipation of it.
I mean, I liked the first half of Barbie. I hated the second half.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was woke. The Barbie movie is woke in the traditional sense of the word, but I enjoyed the experience of going to see it.
I liked Agatha All Along. Agatha All Along was super woke, but Catherine Hahn is just so damn charming and evil.
Perfect example.
I mean, that's literally theater kid slop.
Right.
It's designed for theater kids, but I liked it. So.
Oh, and here's another one. Anti-woke. The Reagan movie. Hated that one. Wasn't woke, but I hated it. And it was just a giant puff piece of all puff pieces for Ronald Reagan. I think it was Angel Studios who either made it or ended up distributing it.
So what about Ghostbusters, Brett? I liked both of the Ghostbusters movies, but I liked and I'm not talking about the original, obviously. I'm talking about the reboots, and I liked Afterlife significantly more than I liked Frozen Empire, but I guess those are like...
Frozen Empire was frozen slop.
And I liked the original much, much more. But I digress. We got a bunch of stuff to get into today. Hit the like button on this video and subscribe to the channel if you are new here and you have not subscribed here yet already. Maybe the thing is like Tim is so militant about his intro. He gets it all done, and this is like we just kind of go off on tangents.
I don't really mind it.
Doesn't bother me.
I think it makes it feel like one of those radio shows like Regis and Kelly where they just kind of shoot the shit.
Yeah.
I like that vibe for us.
So hit the like button on the video. Subscribe to the channel if you are new here. Share the video out with everybody in your life, including the people that you hate. Because if you share it with the people that you hate, you can then argue about it in the comments section, which helps our channel a lot. It's the engagement. That's what we need. So what are we getting into today? Well, Pedro Pascal is back at it again. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, he is being handsy on the red carpet for the Fantastic Four. It should be called the Fantastic Five because all 5 fingers are around Vanessa Kirby's waist. So we're going to talk about that. We're also going to tie it into the discussion that was going on with Scarlett Johansson, her husband, and the other stars from Jurassic World Rebirth, because there was a whole debate around this stuff. They're going to have to start having intimacy coordinators on these movie premiere red carpets. So we're going to talk about that. We are also going to talk about Sierra Ortega. If you don't remember who that is, she was the woman who was removed from Love Island because she said a slur like 10 years ago.
Well,
and
not that long ago.
It was like 2016. That's like 9 years ago.
It was in 2023.
Oh, okay.
That she said the word, and I will say it, she said the word chinky on Instagram, and it was resurfaced, and she was unceremoniously kicked off of Love Island.
Why did I think it was 10 years ago?
She's now issued an apology. Well, she's like my age. So
I mean, say 10 years ago she was a kid.
That's not, well, I mean, I guess you still can get canceled for things that you said or did as a child, but that's even more ridiculous. Yep. She's now responded and apologized because she has no logic in her brain. Yep. She just thought if she said sorry, people would accept her again. And that is, of course, not what happened. So we'll talk about the death threats that are being sent her way.
Kushner in the chat says, how about some news instead of just moaning opinions? No, we're just going to moan opinions all day.
We have news.
We are also going to talk about Nara Smith, who basically said, stop calling me a tradwife. She's getting mad. I mean, I would be annoyed too because the label is designed to kind of put you in a box.
Well, I agree with Nara Smith, and I think that she isn't a tradwife, and also I think that that's fine, and I don't think that you need to be a tradwife. I don't think that that's like the pinnacle of human existence.
Correct. All right. You ready to go?
Yeah, let's go.
Let's go ahead and get started. All right, guys. So Superman has had its opening box office weekend, and let's face it, it's just kind of... Meh. It's kind of meh. So it opened to $220 million. That number is a little bit disputed right now. So $220 million, $125 million domestically, $95 million overseas. And there was some arguments being made that the reason it opened so small overseas is because of Superman's uber American persona, which doesn't fall in line with this movie, given the fact that this movie could be considered globalist slop. It doesn't reference much to America, but it does talk a lot about innate human values and things like this.
The Hollywood Reporter said, its somewhat tepid start internationally isn't a surprise, considering the original creators of the hero cast him as an uber-American patriot and savior, a patina that has never entirely worn off. Don't forget that Zack Snyder's 2013 film was titled Man of Steel, not Superman. So they're saying that Man of Steel was more successful overseas because of the title?
Could be. Man of Steel did open under this film. Granted, 2013 numbers are much, much less than they are now with inflation. I saw other people having a debate over the weekend. They were calling adjusted for inflation COPE.
No, that's math.
It's reality.
It's math.
Man of Steel opened to $116 million in 2013 money. So opening to $125 million in 2025 money just doesn't ring the same. Here's the thing. So the studio set their sights low. They wanted a $100 million opening, but the websites like Box Office Pro and Box Office Theory were predicting anywhere from 115 to 130 million. And this movie fell like firmly in between there with 125 million. Some were saying 122 million. So that number fluctuated by a couple of million. I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. We'll say it's 125 million. I texted Valiant Renegade because I didn't want to do my homework. I said, what do you think this movie's going to end up at when it's all said and done? He said 600 million on the low end, 750 million on the high end. By the way, you should go subscribe to Valiant Renegade's YouTube channel. He does great work over there. They talked about this a lot yesterday. But that's not really the question here. So it opens to $200 million. Last week, Jurassic World opened to $300 and some million. Granted, over a 5-day weekend. So since 2022, this is the second biggest comic book opening next to Deadpool and Wolverine. But $220 million is very different than the $445 million that Deadpool and Wolverine opened to, and much less even than Black Panther Wakanda Forever, which opened to $331 million, and Doctor Strange, which opened to $452 million. So the question is, we have some comments here from David Zaslav. We've got some comments from Jeff Goldstein, who is he's the head of distribution over at Warner Brothers, who basically said, like, this movie was designed to win back the faith in the franchise from the audience that they've kind of degraded over the last 10 years. And I loved this movie. I loved it a lot. I did 21 minutes talking about this movie directly. But do I believe that $221 million, $125 million, so about what they expected, is that going to inspire a bunch of confidence from audience goers? Well, if you were on the internet over the weekend, this movie was unbelievably divisive. A lot, like, I think on Criticlist it ended up at it got the decent rating, like right there in the middle. And people seem really eager to tell you that you're wrong on either side. Like, if you hated this movie, there's a bunch of people coming out to tell you why you're wrong. If you love this movie, there's also a bunch of people coming out to tell you why you're wrong. And to be fair, there were some criticisms of the movie that I caught later that I didn't address really in my review, but that's kind of the point, right? Is like a criticism that matters a lot to a person to mention it means that it bothered them more than like the characterization of his parent, like of Jor-El and Laura, like his mom and his dad, his Kryptonian parents, not Mom, Pa Kent, was valid, but it just didn't resonate with me. I didn't care, and maybe I should have, but I am not a fanatic for Superman lore. But if you think about it, if I was to give this thing the positive spin, Batman Begins opened much less like profitably than, say, The Dark Knight did. I think like $560 some million. Like, it didn't light the world on fire when they brought Batman back after the failures of Batman Forever and then Batman and Robin, the Joel Schumacher Batmans. But the thing is like, do you really think that in like getting exactly what you're expecting is going to inspire confidence? The second weekend box office will be much more apt to let people know what that is. Because over the weekend, Jurassic World made $40 million, which was like a 57% drop. And even F1 made like $13 million, which was like a 50% drop. If they can keep this movie in like the 50% drop range, that is far more indicative of where this movie will go box office wise. If this thing creeps into the 60s as far as drop from week 1 to week 2, it's in deep trouble. And $600 million on the low end, like Valiant Renegade said, when Man of Steel opened and made that much money, does that really mean, I mean, that means that it's opening about the same as the Snyder Bros did, and those movies didn't exactly light the world on fire. It opened to $166 million for Batman vs. Superman, but that had Batman in it, and then fell off a cliff in week 2.
Well, I was under the impression, based on James Gunn's comments, that it's not a big deal if the movie makes money.
It's his job to kind of keep people at ease.
He's now responded to the reception on the opening weekend for Superman on Threads, because James Gunn uses Threads.
That was the most annoying part about it. It wasn't his comment, it was that he made it on Threads.
He said, "I'm incredibly grateful for your enthusiasm and kind words over the past few days. We've had a lot of super in Superman over the years, and I'm happy to have made a movie that focuses on the man part of the equation. A kind person, always looking out for those in need. That resonates so powerfully with so many people across the world is in itself a hopeful testament to the kindness and quality of human beings. Thank you."
That's as neutral as it can be. And is in the comments from Maxwell Lord in the movie about how conservatives and liberals can all hate Lex Luthor.
This is just me, I know, but something about the message of the movie being about kindness just turns me off. And I think that for the vast majority of men, actually, that message is a turnoff.
I don't think so. I don't think so these days. I think that, look, in the age we live in now, the big point that I was making was, like, everybody, I think, is kind of sick of the moral ambiguity of these types of movies nowadays. So one of the things I loved about it is there was no shades of gray.
Well, okay.
There wasn't no explanation
That's
as to
fine.
why the villain is actually misunderstood. He's just kind of evil and megalomaniacal.
But in James Gunn's own interpretation, he believes that it is actually morally gray, because he was discussing the back and forth between Superman's perspective and Lois Lane's perspective, and how the audience can kind of come away with their own perspective on violence and mercy and justice and the balance between the two. So he seems to think that it's a moral quandary in the movie, not that it's black and white, as you said.
The other problem for this movie is that it cost $225 million to make and another $100 million to market. So you need to make more than $600 million. Like, if you're saying that this movie can make $600 million on that budget, you're coping hard.
No, it doesn't matter.
And it's apparently not going to matter.
It's not a big deal.
Look, there was also questions people are having about his characterization around Supergirl, and a lot of people didn't like her lines at the end of the movie.
She called Superman a bitch, right?
I mean, she looks like she's
I heard
playing
that.
like,
I don't know.
She's playing like party girl Supergirl, which I think is kind of funny, but it's not necessarily going to ring uber true to a lot of people. And you need to start building on this to more. And I don't know if a $600 million opening inspires a lot of confidence for people in the future. David Zaslav had things to say. Again, all of these comments have to be positive, because David Zaslav's not going to be like, you know what? We were hoping for $200 million.
This was David Zaslav. 3 years ago, I hired James Gunn and Peter Safran to reimagine and unify the creative direction of DC under one leadership team by breathing new life and excitement into one of the most iconic storytelling franchises in the world. James and Peter's commitment to honoring the legacy of the DC universe while forging something new and enthralling is inspired. I remember my first meeting with James Gunn 3 years ago. He spoke about growing up in Missouri and how the characters of the DC universe weren't just stories to him. They were like his family. His personal bond with these DC heroes was powerful, and I knew that then James was the right person to bring them to life. His love for the DC world runs deep, and it shines in every frame of his work. This weekend, we watched Superman soar as James Gunn's passion and vision came to life on the big screen. Superman is just the first step. Over the next year alone, DC Studios will introduce the films Supergirl and Clayface in theaters and the series Lanterns on HBO Max, all part of a bold 10-year plan. The DC vision is clear, the momentum is real, and I couldn't be more excited for what's ahead.
Hot take, but I would like no vision. I want them just to make individual good movies. and then like let the chips fall where they may. I think people in general are sick of these types of connected universes because they no longer feel connected in any real planned way anymore. Marvel is a crapshoot. Every post-credit scene ends up not mattering for anything in future films.
Was there a post-credit scene in this?
There was two, and there was two, right? And but the thing
is, did you stay for both?
No, I watch them later. But like the point being, was there one or two? The point being that like there was the cameo from Peacemaker in there and stuff like that, which was like got the biggest reaction out of everyone in the audience. But in general,
did everyone clap?
Everyone did clap. Okay, they didn't clap. They laughed. They laughed at what he was saying.
Did they clap at the beginning of the movie?
What do you mean?
Before the movie proved itself, did they clap?
No.
Okay.
No.
Just wondering.
No, the movie got some laughs out of people. But I think the movie needed to make more money than what it made for its opening weekend. Odin from OMB Reviews does point out that it opened under The Batman, which opened to $134 million domestic. So, it's... maybe you could say that that's on the strength of Batman as a character just being the more relevant and more famous character now, given the fact that people don't think of Superman the way that they did 20, 30 years ago in the Donner era. But in general, I would have liked to have seen this thing open more. And I think that the poor overseas showing is going to be what ends up harming it. Like if the domestic audience is only going to come out for average numbers, that needs to be made up for in the overseas number. It opened fourth in China. Like it opened under Jurassic World Rebirth, which was number one again in China this weekend.
That's not entirely surprising.
Is it Scarlett Johansson? Like,
dinosaurs.
they love dinosaurs?
Yeah.
They're like, okay, all right.
Yeah.
All right. Let's move on then.
All right. Daniel Kaluuya's name has been popping up in online discourse recently, and I think it's because of Nicholas Holt's role as Lex Luthor in Superman. They actually were on the cast of a 2000s teen drama called Skins in the UK as teenagers, along with Dev Patel as well, and this was kind of a Star Maker series. They had an interesting way that they cast for it, where they just took teenagers literally on a casting call from the street and put them in this show, and it gave it a really realistic feel. And these actors ended up being really promising and having burgeoning careers. Daniel Kaluuya is an Oscar winner as well. He was in Get Out, which was obviously incredibly popular. He was then in Nope alongside Keke Palmer. What year was that? 2022 that came out?
Was it?
Yeah, I think so.
Get Out was 2018?
Get Out was, I think, either 2017 or 2018.
Okay.
And Nope was, I think, 2022. And I saw this viral tweet that said, movies used to have Daniel Kaluuya. And people were wondering why he seems to have fallen off in his career. And I saw the top response claiming he joined a cult. And I had no idea that he joined a cult.
And you had to go investigate.
Weirdly kind of common, more common than you would think in Hollywood.
I said to you, given the personality types it takes to be an actor, it's hard to believe that all of them don't end up kind of worshiping at the altar of some weird guru.
Yeah, well, there's the general Hollywood cults, but it's more loosely connected than the specific ones like Scientology or maybe the weird cult that Jared Leto kind of runs with his female fans, and they meet up on islands and wear white together in Kumbaya. But Daniel Kaluuya seems to have joined a more obscure cult under the leadership of a woman who calls herself Air Holiness. And this was
props for his hipster notion for culthood. He didn't go down the traditional path.
This was a topic of conversation in 2022 when he abruptly fired people who were managing him at the talent agency CAA, and he let go of all of these people, including stylists as well, personal assistants, at the behest of Air Holiness.
Well, Air Holiness probably said that they had bad energy.
Do you have that image of her, by the way?
Is she in this?
She's in the New York Post article.
Resend it to me here real quick.
She's on the headline image in this, actually in this page 6 article here. Okay. just posing in a bra. She's more of an influencer, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't...
In this day and age...
This is her?
Yes.
Okay. I mean, I don't really imagine ever going to somebody that looks like that for some type of wisdom or deeper understanding of the world.
Well, Daniel Kaluuya just must have an insight into this woman that you don't have. They say Daniel Kaluuya is beloved in Hollywood as a down-to-earth guy, but insiders are concerned after he has jettisoned his agents and publicists and seems to be under the influence of a charismatic, quote-unquote, life strategist. And this is because in a now deleted LinkedIn post, she credited herself as his personal manager. And now that is no longer on her profile on LinkedIn. Air Holiness.
Wait, cult leaders have LinkedIn profiles?
She does, or did at the time.
I mean, I don't know what's scarier, LinkedIn or cult.
Air Holiness called herself Daniel Kaluuya's personal manager on a now deleted LinkedIn page seen by the New York Post. She has also described herself as the head mistress for the international alma mater Blessed University. And this was from an anonymous source at the time claiming, "We can't figure out who she is. We really have no clue as his team has shifted camps."
Do you think that Hustler's university credits and this university's credits transfer, or do you have to start from scratch?
Maybe this predated Hustler's University.
Could be.
The Post confirmed with multiple sources that Air Holiness was by Daniel Kaluuya's side as he filmed Nope, the second horror movie with director Jordan Peele after Get Out. And last month before that, it was in February 2022, that Puck News reported Air Holiness's behavior during the filming of Nope, in which Daniel Kaluuya stars, caused people on set to be concerned about her influence over the actor. People on the Nope set were very concerned that Air Holiness had taken over Daniel Kaluuya's life and all decisions had to go through her. I've heard there were multiple blow-ups and the production people were afraid of her.
Damn.
However, another source said not everyone was a fan of hers and she had never shown up on set personally. And then he fired his talent agents at CAA. They confirmed that he was no longer with the agency shortly after Get Out, and a spokesperson said that they confirmed that. And then another inside source claimed that Air Holiness marginalized Daniel Kaluuya's usual team, and he also sacked his stylist and multiple assistants at her behest.
I would love to know the reasoning given by her as to why they could no longer work with him.
Well, the interesting thing is that she denied having any involvement in the decision for him to fire these people. She was on a rant on her Instagram stories where she responded to these accusations, calling these stories fake. Air Holiness said that Daniel Kaluuya had some problems in his business with some people and he fired them. What does that have to do with me? I don't know why they got fired exactly. I never met any of these people. None of the people that got fired have I ever seen in person, and I do not know them. I don't know why they got fired exactly.
So what do you think? Is she telling the truth, or is this the type of thing where she's like, I need to have complete control over you, but if she can't offer him styling advice, why does it matter if he has a stylist?
I mean, I think she was probably...
trying to bring in her own people?
No, I think she was probably hiding or omitting the full truth, which is that she has a personal relationship with this actor, and the things she says as an advisor to him hold a lot of weight. And yeah, she may not have met any of these people or been directly involved in his decision to fire them, but she can plant the seeds like, these people are bad influences over you. They don't know what's best for you. They don't have your best interest at heart like I do. And then at the end of this screed that she went on at the time on Instagram, she pivoted to a weird sales pitch for amulets. She said, I'll have some for sale. The Hamza, the I, and the Om, the most powerful protection symbols. The swastika as well. But because Hitler used it, and it still has such a negative connotation, I will not be offering that one. But it is the most powerful, she says.
Well, there are other countries that use that symbol, right?
Well, that's true. Yeah. It does have Hindu origins, but was appropriated by National Socialism. I suppose she thought it was too controversial to sell on her platform.
Well, it's good to know that she has a line in the sand somewhere.
Another insider on Nope said there are many actors and artists in Hollywood who work with spiritual advisors and use them for guidance and support, but him leaving his talent agency and publicists, that's the unusual thing. It's kind of weird. And then a source who knows Daniel Kaluuya believed that he met Air Holiness on the set of Black Panther in 2018. Apparently, he was introduced to Air Holiness through a makeup artist who is a crystal chick.
So this is all Ryan Coogler's fault.
Well, it's really the makeup artist's fault, it sounds like. And the Air Holiness at the time was going by the name Air Princess. They said her real name is... It's spelled very strangely, Vanilla Salima Mahmood, and she is from California and has at least 3 accounts on Twitter, one of which was private at the time, and an Instagram account with messages like, "I'm just a spiritual gangster serving a life sentence in a human body." Daniel Kaluuya and Air Holiness were so close during the publicity run of Judas and the Black Messiah that he would fly her to LA and from Las Vegas every week for spiritual healing, mental exercises, and a diet of herbal supplements to lose weight. Forgive me if I have my mind going to Harley Pasternak places right now, but that doesn't really check out to me. That sounds like drugs. That sounds like a drug dealer. We have a 20 from Shane H. Wilder. He wouldn't be the first one from Skins who ended up in a cult. Hannah Murray, who played Cassie, hasn't done anything since 2018 after an involuntary committal stemmed from her joining a wellness cult. I didn't even know that.
I admit, so here's the thing. I'm a regular checker of IMDb on actors, and I'm always kind of intrigued when I see like a gap when they stop having roles.
Right.
Now with the women, it's less so because I assume that they just had kids and started a family. Is that sexist of me?
It's
but
common.
Like they stop acting, they start a family and they move on with their lives. With the men, I'm like, so he was Me Too'd.
Mm-hmm.
That's my first thought. If there's a gap in if somebody's been acting regularly since the 90s, the early 2000s, and then suddenly there's just no roles there, I'm like,
especially past like 2017 and onward.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, that never happened to Daniel Kaluuya.
No.
So it seems more like this so-called spiritual advisor or health guru is meddling in his personal relationships and actually influenced him to end a relationship. They say they saw a photo of them cuddling together on a hot air balloon, and Daniel Kaluuya was celebrating his birthday, and he was with British actor Damson Idris.
Hey, the guy from F1.
Kaluuya was last known to be dating a woman based in New York City, but that is ending, according to sources who know him. Yeah. And one claimed that Air Holiness may have influenced the breakup.
Of course. She's bad energy.
Yeah, a woman who confirmed that she is Air Holiness denied working with or for Kaluuya and said she had only met him a few times. She said, "People are saying I work with Daniel Kaluuya. I would love to work with Daniel Kaluuya." But she said her moniker is derived from a slave name, and she confirmed she had run the International Alma Mater Blessed University before the pandemic. This is the International Alma Mater School of Ascension, an institution created to serve today's women in business with education in leadership empowerment and spiritual self-sufficiency as a foundation for excellence in life and business. Bro, and now they have a website for the school that is no longer serviceable.
You can sell somebody anything if you put enough big words in front of it.
This is just a fraction of the story. It goes much deeper than this. It seems like they have a deep personal history together, and whether it's a personal trainer or a pastor or a spiritual guru or a so-called friend, it seems like a lot of actors and entertainers in general have shady relationships with people who are meddling in their personal business. I've been looking into the spiritual advisors that Justin Bieber has associated himself with over the years, and I have a running list of them now. It's not just Pastor Judah Smith or these people from Hillsong in LA. It's more than that, and a lot of them have their own controversies that people don't know about. And I think that there needs to be like a real deep dive study into them, because they seem to be very insidious actors with not the best interests of these talent at heart.
Shocking.
They're looking for a paycheck, but they're also seemingly feeding them drugs, in the case of Harley Pasternak, meddling in their family life, and eventually getting Kanye institutionalized. That is not something a personal trainer does. Like, show me any personal trainer who speaks to their client the way that Harley Pasternak spoke to Kanye, and I would die to see the conversations between Daniel Kaluuya and this Air Holiness chick, because clearly there is more than meets the eye here. It's very weird.
Speaking of Kanye West, let's talk about Elmo.
Well, anti-Semitism, right?
Yeah.
Last week, the Grok AI on X went rogue and started going on an anti-Semitic screed and telling X users about the final solution, calling itself a new nickname, Mecha Hitler, and speaking about the Jews. And now the Elmo account on X has been hacked and started posting similar sentiments. Although these are all now deleted, the screenshots will live forever in infamy.
Yes, they will.
I think I can at least read these since we're not the ones saying it, right?
I don't even want to put them up on screen.
One of them says,
we'll just put Elmo's face here.
Right. Release the files at real Donald Trump, child effer. Another one said, kill all... Okay. Another one said, Elmo says all Jews should die. F Jews, Donald Trump is Netanyahu's puppet because he is in the Epstein files. Jews control the world and need to be...
You do a lot of great impressions. Can you do an Elmo impression?
Oh, I don't want to be clipped saying any of that, especially in an Elmo voice. But if you would like to volunteer...
I don't do a good Elmo voice.
I'd be happy to hear your Elmo impression.
Nope. If it was Mickey, I could give you a Mickey impression, but it's not Mickey. You know what?
Jordan Peterson has a long-running beef with Elmo, called him a milksop, and I think these tweets could inflame a new debate between Elmo and Jordan Peterson.
Peterson has been vindicated.
Who has positioned himself as a warrior against anti-Semitism on X. I guess Elmo is part of the woke right now.
Maybe this was Peterson on an alt account hacking the Elmo so that he could then start the beef back up.
Or is this Grok influencing Elmo? Is this a Groiper hack?
I did like this one. It said Elmo had it all: fame, a clean image, brand deals, loved by millions. Then he hit post and it all came crashing down.
The Grok situation was something we didn't address last week, but when I looked into it, it was so insane because this Groiper account this Groiper account impersonated a real person, a real woman named, I think, Cindy Steinberg or something.
Okay.
And started posting all of these anti-white phrases, celebrating the deaths of children in the floods in Texas, and posing as this woman, this real woman. And when she found out about it, she was distraught, obviously, that she was being impersonated to say all these disgusting things. And then when people asked Grok to summarize the situation for them, Grok mistakenly thought that this woman was genuinely saying all of this and this was a real account, and then started saying that it was, the Jews every single time, and presenting solutions of a final variety. And that was a whole controversy in and of itself. Elmo is just the newest chapter.
I did see this one.
I'm assembling a team. Elmo, Mel Gibson, Kanye, and Grok.
There was this one.
Oh, man. So, okay. I feel like I just, have a bunch of history of the internet just locked away in my brain.
You do, because you immediately
I immediately knew about the original anti-Semitic Elmo, who predates all of this. This is from 13 years ago. There was a man who dressed up as Elmo in Central Park and went on anti-Semitic rants in front of the public, and he ended up getting profiled in the New York Times. It was this whole controversy, but I wanted to show this video.
Haven't fixed the problem. Then your kids won't hear this out here. Read about International Jew by Henry Ford. I'm not making money because the Jewish costume company's harassing me. That's why I'm doing it. And that's why I want people to read about the International Jew, because if you start your own business in this city, Jews will harass you. Read about the International Jew by Henry Ford.
That is the scariest Elmo I've ever seen in my life.
Wait, how many other Elmos are there that she's seen?
There are a lot of Elmos in New York, for sure.
Oh my god. Did you hear what he said?
No, I didn't.
What's with the knee pads?
Yeah, I'm also going to demote because he's also not doing an Elmo voice. And if he really wanted to draw attention to himself, he'd be doing an Elmo voice.
He said something about not being able to make money because
Couldn't
of
start
the
a
Jewish
business 'cause you would
costume
be-
companies.
And that he would be harassed opening a business in New York City because of Jewish businessmen.
Yeah, so I looked into this further, and I found the New York Times piece on him from back in 2012. Beneath a ranting Elmo's mask, a man with a disturbing past, and they uncovered his real identity. They say his name is Adam Sandler. There is no freaking way. There is no way.
The world is a little bit fake. I'm getting this is all a simulation vibes.
So the police put him in an ambulance, but he was not arrested at the time. The videos were spreading everywhere, and others thought it was scary. So they identified this man as Adam Sandler, 48, of Ashland, Oregon. He removed his Elmo head from atop himself and tried to explain the situation. He said the doctors that he was taken to told him he was paranoid. It was obvious to talking to him that he was troubled. He told a detailed account of his life and his dark past, and this included him getting deported from Cambodia for hosting a pornographic website titled Welcome to the Grape Camp. He was deported from Cambodia in 1999 after this was brought to light, and then in the US started working from a temp agency at the New York office of Girl Scouts.
You can't make this stuff up.
And he was later fired after these videos started spreading online. Then he said, I saw how these Elmo guys were working in Times Square, and he got the costume for $300, which quickly paid for itself, and then moved on to Central Park because he felt Times Square was too saturated with Elmos.
Well,
At least
the market share was full.
Yeah, at least 2 other outbursts in his Elmo costume made it to the internet. In one of them, he uses obscenities that send children running to their mothers. Mr. Sandler said that the true number of his outbursts as Elmo was closer to 15. The police had no record of arrests on him, and in none of these videos was he physically abusive to anyone. It's unclear, they say, whether his rants as Elmo are illegal. Just don't let this Elmo tickle your kids.
Here's Elmo being interviewed by Candace Owens.
Oh my gosh. I can't. So yeah, Elmo has a very weathered reputation at this point. He's like one of the favorites for like child mascots that get defiled, you know?
Tickle Me Elmo was probably a psyop of some sort. I don't know what that
What do you
psyop
mean?
was, but look, it's the voice. It's very easy to put a bunch of like hateful stuff in that voice, and it immediately is funny to people. Let's face it.
Yeah, you can't deny
but
that.
what we're saying is true. Jordan Peterson must have been right all along.
Can you find that Jordan Peterson clip? I'm sure it's readily available. We have a 20 from Pop Culture Junkie. There is a cadre of spiritual advisors who take advantage of painfully insecure actors. These celebrities can be suspicious of the management around them who take a percentage of their income. These advisors exploit that. Yeah, definitely seems like a pattern at this point, and I know Rabbi Shmuley to this day credits himself with trying to help Michael Jackson out of substance abuse problems.
Why do you hate?
But he was a spiritual advisor as well.
Yeah. Elmo so much.
He's a cringing little milksop of a puppet. I like the Jim Henson puppets. They all had an edge. They were funny. Jim Henson was funny. He was a terrible story.
Oh, so he agrees with Elmo.
Okay.
And you could tell that in Sesame Street.
Yeah, you could.
We used to sit around when I was a teenager and get stoned and watch Sesame Street. I mean, nobody could invent the Count who hadn't smoked like 8 pounds of weed.
The Count.
Okay. Well, you heard it here first. He was a cringy little milksop. That's what he was. That's what he was. Okay. Just another long line of I didn't even hear about Elmo until the end of the night because I don't have X on my phone anymore. So
I didn't see any of this.
Yeah.
But I think I want to see Pierce Morgan host a debate between Jordan Peterson and anti-Semitic Elmo. That's what I want.
I would watch that. Okay.
Elmo also has beef with Larry David, apparently.
Yes.
They got
Larry
into a
David,
fist fight on national television.
Got beat up. I remember that.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, Elmo is this uniquely hated child character for some reason.
All right. What would you like to see, cringe or cute of the day?
Let's see cringe first. Okay. We have a JoJo Siwa cringe today.
That's never a bad thing.
Mm-hmm.
Here we go.
The more you get to know me, the more you're like, yo, your brain's being studied when you kick the can. Because what is different in there? And it's something that I don't try to prove to people that my brain's different, but it does work in very different ways. Back in the day when I did go to school, I would buy 6th grade, right? It was an online program. And I would click the first math lesson and I would scan the lesson and be like, okay, I'll figure it out. And I'd go to the questions and I'd get 100%. So then I'd jump and I'd do the 6th lesson. And then I would just go straight to the questions and I would know how to do it. And then I would be like, all right, well, I'm just going to try to take the end of the year test and see if I can pass. And I would know how to do it all. Right? And then that's how I graduated so early, is I just kind of breezed through it all, which is crazy. Having a girlfriend at the time who was in high school when I should have been in high school, but I was already graduated. She did this math problem and she was like, answer this. And she tried to make a really hard Albert Einstein problem. And I did it. And she was like, how'd you get that answer? And I was like, well, I just did. I don't know. And she was like, well, show me your work. So I showed her how I did it. And she was like, I've never seen someone solve a math problem like that. And I was like, but did I get the answer? And she was like, yeah. And I was like, great. Can we move on with our life? And that's kind of my work mentality too. It's very different, but in I guess a good sort of way.
Can you imagine JoJo in a remake of Good Will Hunting?
Don't even think about it.
I think that JoJo Siwa should start a podcast with Jaden Smith.
They
just talk about how smart they are.
Reminds me of there's a song by Vinnie Paz called "Happiness Is Just a Word," and the song is about depression and mental illness. And there's a line in it where he says, "Doctors tell me my mind is fascinating." And basically the idea is but they can't tell me what's wrong with me. And I'm like, that feels like a really, really weird humble brag. I love the song, but it feels like my life is worse than everybody else's humble brag.
Well, this isn't really what we just watched, a humble brag. It's just a brag.
That's just a brag.
Just a very brazen statement that JoJo Siwa thinks she's a genius. And maybe she is. Maybe she is a genius. She's captured our attention for this long. Thank you.
They're not clocking it.
It's not clocking to you.
Don't even think about that Good Will Hunting remake. Don't even think about it.
I would watch it.
Don't even think about it. I don't want, especially with there isn't anybody to play Robin Williams now.
What?
They'd have Will Smith do it.
JoJo Siwa playing Oppenheimer. Yeah, I can see it already. I can see the vision.
Oh, I hate it. All right, let's do cute of the day. Here we go. This one's from Terrence Rice. Says before and after of Luna with the lion cut. Enjoy.
I can't see very well, but oh. Oh. Whoa. That's really
Bro got a haircut.
Quite something. Is it for the summer?
They must notice it too. That's a great photo.
I love it.
Toast, when Mocha when Mocha had her X-rays, they had to shave her tummy, and she was definitely self-conscious about the tummy.
Yeah. I love the tail there. It's the cute little detail.
I love it. All right, guys. Remember, you can submit your pets for Cute of the Day. Pictures only, please. If you would like to brag about your pets, tag me and the show in there at Brett Dasovic and at popculture_show on X, and use the hashtag, please, PCCPets.
All right. Guys, Pedro Pascal is a menace. Usher has got nothing on him. Chris Brown has got nothing on him. And he has this pattern, as you probably are already aware, of touching his female colleagues in a way that a lot of people deem inappropriate. Last week, we were talking about a video of Pedro on a red carpet with his friend Sarah Paulson, and he is pulling her very close, whispering in her ear. She's leaning away from him. A lot of people thought it was obvious that she was uncomfortable with this level of physical contact in front of photographers. But it seems that his physical contact with his co-star on Fantastic Four, Vanessa Kirby, is very much welcomed. And she is engaged and pregnant at the moment. And I just wonder, how does her baby daddy feel about how up close and personal and familiar and friendly she's getting with Pedro Pascal in all of these promos? She was just in this video with the Fantastic Four cast, and Pedro is reaching very low on her hip in this video. You can even see their co-star Joseph Quinn in the middle there, giving them a look like, is this appropriate? Like, I don't really know how to feel about this.
Let's watch it here.
So they're all throwing up the four fingers, but he's looking down. Look at him. He's like, is that really professional? He's still looking at it. Yeah. And this is what they made in the final cut of this promo video.
I'm wondering if
Joseph Quinn is all of us right now.
I'm wondering if it's like a reference to the movie that I'm not catching.
Well, I don't know. I mean, they seem to be taking showmance to a whole new level.
Am I wrong in thinking like nobody can be that dumb to leave it in there? Like somebody at Marvel had to be like maybe cut out his face there or reshoot it. Like there could be a reference there that I'm.
They're leaning into it, and this is the definition of showmance, because of course they're love interests and they want to play up the chemistry off camera. And one of the tweets replying to this video said, "If I saw another man holding my pregnant wife like that, someone is getting a black eye and some broken teeth." I think most men would probably feel that way, but it seems Vanessa Kirby's baby daddy is cool with them basically canoodling all the time. There was this other photo of them nuzzling each other. Vanessa Kirby is instigating some of this PDA on a red carpet in this photo. She's nuzzling him with the tip of her nose. They're very, very close, okay? Something about this doesn't ring as a coworker relationship or a friendship.
We'll just find out later that it's exactly what you expect from Hollywood, which is a bunch of cheating.
And there was also this set of photos from Comic-Con where she's pulling very close to Pedro Pascal on the red carpet. Not just in this photo, but the second one was the craziest to me. In that slideshow there.
Here.
She's like smelling his neck and he's closing his eyes in ecstasy.
I mean, it's a photo from a red carpet. He's likely just blinking.
And this is from the same Comic-Con panel where he reaches out for her hand in a moment of social anxiety to soothe himself.
She looks like a weird version of Elizabeth Berkley.
And people are like, it's funny how his social anxiety never prompts him to touch men. It's weird how he only needs the touch of a woman to stave off a panic attack.
It's possible that Joseph Quinn and Eben Backrack just don't have the same calming effect.
And as I said in a short that we posted earlier today...
can you send me the link to that?
Well, it's fine. We don't need to show all of the examples. But I said earlier today that people are excusing this by saying Pedro Pascal is gay. And the first thing I would say to that is, first off, there has been no confirmation one way or the other from Pedro Pascal or anyone else that he is gay. He has not spoken on his sexual orientation at all. A lot of people, of course, theorize that he's gay, including myself. But even if he were gay, secondly, that would not excuse making inappropriate physical contact with your colleagues or anyone else. That's a very strange notion that people seem to have these days, that just because you're gay, you can get away with unprofessional or strange, violating behavior, especially towards women. It's just too close for comfort. I would not personally feel comfortable with this as a woman, even if the man were gay.
Okay. There's something even worse than all of that here. He didn't listen to Cypress Hill. I don't believe it.
What do you mean by that?
He's worse.
Oh, the shirt. Worse, I didn't even look at the shirt.
Worse than an overly handsy person is a poser.
He's wearing a Cypress Hill shirt for those listening rather than watching. I didn't even notice that. Yeah, it's just not really what most people would tolerate from their significant others. And maybe in Hollywood, people just put up with this type of thing, or they don't think of it as weird. But I asked you earlier, I mean, if Olivia had like a gay best friend who was getting this physical with her, would it really matter whether or not he's gay?
Yes, it would.
Would it make any difference that he's gay? Do you think
it would make no difference.
Like, that to me just seems like a bullshit excuse for inappropriate behavior.
No couple should be getting that close with a person that's not their partner.
Well, alternatively, would it make any difference if it were a female friend?
What do you mean? Like, for her?
Yeah.
Oh, like on the red carpet? It's weird.
Regardless of someone's sex or
weird.
Sexuality,
like,
doesn't really matter.
I get that they feel like they have to do this stuff because it's been this way for as long as Hollywood has existed and showmance has been around for a long time. Though we started talking about it more. I hadn't really thought about it much until Glenn Powell and Sydney Sweeney in the run up to what was it? Anyone But You. But it's also a joke amongst regular people that these people's relationships don't last. So it's like, of course, go out and do whatever you want. You made the money you wanted to make, and your relationship probably isn't going to matter anyways. But to the rest of us that actually seem to cherish our relationships, you have to guard that. And that type of behavior for either sex is a red flag.
And since you mentioned Sydney Sweeney, she did end up finishing off her engagement. She broke up with Jonathan Davino earlier this year, and the reported reason for that was that she just wanted to focus more on her career because it was a very demanding schedule. And also, Glenn Powell's ex-girlfriend, who was with him during the filming of their rom-com Anyone But You, spoke out on a podcast just weeks ago saying that it was, in fact, their showmance that ended her relationship with Glenn Powell because he refused to clarify to the public that it was just for show. He wanted people to buy into the fantasy that they were falling in love on set in order to sell the movie. He wasn't willing to make the sacrifice of his own career opportunity for the sake of his girlfriend, or at the time actually his fiance. So these things actually do go too far sometimes, and there are plenty of partners of actors who are not comfortable with this. Colin Jost is not one of them, actually.
I bet you those are fake glasses that Pedro has, too. It's even worse.
His glasses really piss me off. I don't even know why. But Scarlett Johansson is also promoting Jurassic World Rebirth at the moment alongside gay co-star Jonathan Bailey, and they're seen here on a red carpet kissing on the lips. What is this? I don't understand this. Like, there is no reason
this is
for this
a face
behavior.
Of pain.
And this is Colin Jost, Scarlett Johansson's husband in real life, and he was asked to comment on the PDA between ScarJo and Jonathan Bailey. He said, "Of all the threats out there, I wasn't thinking it was Jonathan. Jonathan is an out gay man. It didn't seem like the biggest threat. Jonathan and I were like, I guess we have to kiss now?"
It's not about it being a threat. It's literally just disrespectful and sends the wrong message. There's going to be plenty of people who are going to see it that don't know that the guy is gay. And your wife's face should not be something that you're willing to just accept being shared. with others. It's already like they already have to do that, given that they're in the world of acting where they have a very loose interpretation of all that stuff because it's part of the job, right? But I actually do think that there's a difference because when they're on set, it's work and it's like you've got a director. I'm not saying I would take it this way, but I'm saying that in their artistic brain, there's a guy barking orders at you. There's 50 people on set. There's a dude holding like a bounce light, trying to make sure that everything's framed perfectly. It's not romantic. But the thing is on the red carpet, there's a bunch of people photographing you, but it's basically a party. There is something intimate about that. And the act of being photographed by people that aren't the crew of your movie and stuff like that. They're not really the same thing, even for an artist. Like I think normal people wouldn't be able to stomach either on set or on the red carpet. But for actors, this actually feels like more of a violation to me than the stuff that's done on a closed set.
Right. Like this is obviously unscripted, or at least seems to be totally spontaneous. I don't think that they were instructed to kiss on the red carpet. This is something that happened in the heat of the moment.
Let's face it, she's got all the power in that relationship. He might be a writer on SNL, but does anybody give a fuck about that? Yeah. No? Like, no. She has all the power in this relationship, and I'm sure he constantly feels like he's not good enough for her.
He's getting emasculated, and people, both men and women, are getting cucked left and right because showmance calls. You know, this is part of the job, and these lines get blurred.
Yeah.
I personally wouldn't be okay with it, and I'm guessing the vast majority of people wouldn't be okay with it, even if it meant that they got to live off of Scarlett Johansson's massive fortune.
Yeah, I'm guessing that for him, there's a lot of feelings of inferiority that, you know, make stuff like this. Okay, let me rephrase. I think that there's a mixture of feelings of inferiority and just that modern day hyper progressive worldview that they share in Hollywood, where maybe if he doesn't realize that it bothers him, but it's on such an instinctual level that he can't really process it.
Yes. And of course, he's framing this as if he would have to be this insecure, threatened creature in order to find this inappropriate.
Who's the most physically attractive gay woman in Hollywood? He needs to go find her right now and make a movie with her so that he can show up on the red carpet.
That's a tough one.
And do the same thing.
That's a tough one.
Are there even?
Yeah, I don't know.
There's probably plenty of conventionally attractive
lesbian actresses.
Lesbians or bisexual actors. Like, would that have changed it?
The conventionally attractive lesbians in Hollywood tend to uglify themselves, so it's less of a comparison.
Yeah, he's like, I'm not taking Bella Ramsey on set and doing that. No way.
Kristen Stewart, if she didn't get such an awful haircut and dress in men's suits. Maybe.
Maybe that's why he's really upset, is that he can't do this in reverse because there isn't like the comparison going the other direction.
No, there's no way to get back at her in this situation. But I disagree with the premise that you have to be insecure to feel threatened by this. And I disagree also with the notion that just because, you know, just because Jonathan Bailey is out as a gay man, or just because Pedro Pascal is presumed to be a gay man, that this means it's appropriate, or this means that you should feel comfortable with this as someone's spouse or fiance. That's obviously, that does not compute.
Chat, I'm going to need you to let us know who he can do this with, who Colin Jost can do this with to get back at Scarlett Johansson.
Is there a guest star on SNL that, you know, maybe Sydney Sweeney goes on SNL and they have a skit together?
We'll have to.
And at the end, when they're all coming out to the audience and everyone's clapping, he shares a kiss with Sydney Sweeney in the heat of the moment. It's work, babe. I don't know what to say.
And I do agree with, in the chat, somebody says, it's not a matter of insecurity, but respect. Yes, it's disrespectful. Absolutely.
Agree.
All right, let's do some super chats.
Shane H. Wilder said, happy Monday, Brett and Mary. A coworker said that they were excited for Fantastic Four because of Pedro Pascal. I guess he doesn't know Pride Month was last month.
Look.
Are there actual Pedro Pascal stands out there? Like, not Twitter stands?
Pedro Pascal has had a series of roles that people remember him from. People keep pointing out that he was in Narcos, and I never even saw it. And apparently that's like even more, as much as Game of Thrones is what people remember him from. you know, he's the in thing, and a lot of people don't think past whatever the in thing is at that any given time.
Yeah. Pop Culture Junkie said, Brett, really good piece on July 10th on the sci-fi site about Continuum. Check it out.
Wait, so that's actually what's funny about that is like I'm imagining that they're just coping that they can't make great series anymore, so they have to write like think pieces about their own past work because they can't remaster and make great work again. But if you're looking for a recommendation, since you should go check out Continuum, it's on Amazon Prime. But Amazon Prime did add the series The Following, starring Kevin Bacon and James Purefoy. Kevin Bacon plays an absolutely like he's the definition of a total mess. Alcoholic, troubled FBI agent with a haunted past, tracking down a serial killer named a serial killer that runs a cult of serial killers, and they got away with a lot of, like, if you're into, it's not gore, but for a network television show, it was on Fox. I think it was like the 10 o'clock slot. They got away with like a lot of pretty dark visuals for like a network television show. But the Joe Carroll character and the Hardy character were both really, really good. Just watch season 1 though. You can watch season 2, but season 1 is really, really good. Plus, when it went off in season 3, they were planning in season 4 to do a season about elites, like Hollywood, rich elites who were serial killers who got away with it because they had money and resources. And then the show mysteriously got canceled.
Serial killers who actually got away with it, we don't know about them. Yeah. And they got away with it because we didn't have mass surveillance.
I think
DNA evidence.
I think a lot of it is, but I think that there's probably a lot of rich people that get away with that type of stuff.
Currently?
Probably, yeah.
I mean, I guess
they have the money to make the evidence disappear.
Sure.
Yeah.
You're probably in the CIA. Home Slice said, excited for Eddington this weekend. Are you guys into the Ari Aster movies? Don't get me started. I hate Ari Aster. I think that he is deranged. I think that he is an occultist. I hate his movies and everything that he stands for. So no, I'm not going to be watching that.
Let's hold off on the rest, and that was such a fantastic answer. Let's hold off on the rest. Let's move on.
Okay. It continues to flabbergast me that in the year of our Lord 2025, influencers still think that the correct response to getting canceled is issuing an apology video. It never works out that way. People never offer you a path for redemption. They will always continue kicking you while you're down. And this is the latest example. Last week, we discussed this Love Island contestant, Sierra Ortega, who was unceremoniously kicked off of the island because of her resurfaced posts from 2023, in which she used the word chinky to describe the way her eyes look when she smiles. This was a post where she was explaining her Botox treatments, and she used them to open up her eyes and make them look less chinky. This was the term she used that enraged everyone, and she was dragged by thousands, if not millions of people for this stuff. I cannot believe there is still a crowd of people that is this easily offended by a word like that.
2023, right?
I think that was when the original post went up, yes. And she was kicked off of the show. However, they did not actually say explicitly that that was the reason why. They said it was personal reasons. That was not true. She went offline. Her parents took over her social media accounts and told people, we understand why you're mad, but can you please stop sending death threats and responding to hate with hate? I think even that was not putting it strongly enough because, first of all, she didn't speak with hate in the first place. And even if she had, even if she had walked up to an Asian person and started degrading them for their race, that would still not justify the way people are responding to this. And she ended up posting an apology video last week, which we'll show part of. And she clarified that this was all the way back last year in January 2024 that she was initially called out for using this term by a follower of hers privately. And she did take accountability and delete the post at the time. Her follower said to her, Hey, it seems like you're unaware that the word chink is an extremely racist and offensive word against Asians. It's unacceptable and incredibly hurtful to be using that word, especially in this context, as if it's a negative thing to have Asian eyes. You have lost a follower. I hope you use this opportunity to grow. And Sierra responded, I'm so embarrassed for being so naive and unaware. It's no excuse as the damage is already done. You have the right to be upset for my careless misuse of the word. I do hope you know I have zero ill intention and I didn't mean to cause any harm. Being a POC myself, I should be a lot more careful with the messages I'm spreading. Thank you for educating me, and I can assure you this word has been removed from my vocabulary, and I'll make an honest effort to make sure no other derogatory words or terms leave my mouth or are shared to my audience. Thank you again, and I'm so, so sorry, making a promise to do better. But that, of course, was not enough.
I feel like
and the apology video was not enough.
I feel like if she got caught in an MLM fleecing people for money, she would not have to give an apology that deep.
So, we have a 20 from Gravel AMDG. Sup, Chigos. Sup. I want to point out first, before we play this apology video, that she is wearing a sweater that literally says the word empathy on it.
Yeah.
The brain rot is insane. I thought people were calling it an empathy sweater as a joke. Like, oh, people wear sweaters when they make apology videos to seem more soft and empathetic. No, it's a sweater that just says the word empathy on it. Did she order that just for this video?
Yeah.
I mean, trying to understand.
In today's day and age, I completely buy that.
You have empathy merch? Yeah. Okay. And then she goes on to say that she will no longer be holding space for words like that in her vocabulary, and she will discourage anyone else from holding space for these slurs.
Play it from 3 minutes?
Yeah,
okay,
let's play the last part here where she says the response to her wrongdoing has been it has been outsized and she feels it's inappropriate.
I've been waiting for me to.
Okay, I gotta get back to where we were. All right, here we go.
I would have even said it, or why I would have been doubling down and continuing to use it. So I understand where the hate is coming from. And, you know, I can do my best to drown out the noise and pay attention to the truth. But what's been extremely, extremely difficult is the way people are approaching my family and my loved ones. You know, they have had ICE called on them. My family doesn't feel safe in their own home. I'm receiving death threats. Like, there's no need to fight hate with hate. I don't think that that's justice. And if you want to know that you're heard and that I'm sorry and that I will move differently, I promise you that's what will happen.
It's never about that.
I know that no apology could ever be enough for the harm that I've caused and the offense that's taken place. I know that moving forward, my actions and how I decide to live my life from here on out is gonna speak louder than any apology ever could. But I do need it to be known that I am sorry and I did mean no harm, and hopefully there are people out there that can use my mistake as a learning moment, and to just be better, because that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna take today and tomorrow and I'm gonna take strides to be better. And all I can ask for is, even if you won't give me forgiveness, if you can just allow me to grow with grace. And hopefully, instead of sitting here and trying to convince you that I am this amazing person who spreads light in the world and celebrates cultures and dynamics and backgrounds, then one day you can see that from me. I'm deeply sorry again, and I thank anyone who's listening.
So, just an innocent question here. If we're to believe that no apology can be enough and no apology can make right for the wrong that has been done, why apologize anyway? Yeah. Like, what's the value in the apology then? If it's not enough, then why do it? Why even offer the apology if it's not going to be accepted? And what do you think the response was? Here's one from Pop Crave's tweet. Once a racist, always a racist. She should be punished. And you know what? Sierra Ortega agrees with that sentiment. She's saying, I'm a piece of shit. Please abuse me. I deserve to be abused. I deserve to be punished. I deserve to be dragged. I deserve to be dehumanized and degraded for this. You know, don't accept my apology. hate me, please hate me, treat me like I'm trash. That's what she's asking for, and she got it. She got what she wanted. And one of the responses said, the empathy sweater, the soft yet stern delivery, the crystal around her neck, calling it an accountability video, saying, holding space for a slur, S-tier apology video, a performance. And that's what it is. It's a performance. And I think even Sarah Ortega thought posturing that she knew this wouldn't be enough was going to pay off. It did not. And now she's realizing that in real time. She has now shared screenshots of the responses to her apology, which predictably so are brutal and violent. She said on her Instagram, hey, so is this still about accountability, or it was never about accountability? You should have known that. She's not that bright, but I would assume we all have pattern recognition skills, and you've seen other people get canceled before. You've seen other people apologize for things before online, right? How did you not see this coming? Here were some of the messages she was sent. I'm going to call ICE on your family again. These are people who believe in abolishing ICE, by the way.
Yeah.
But they're going to call ICE on someone for saying the word chinky. Another one said, next time I see you in LA, with a bunch of gun emojis, I'm gonna you and your family, you stupid bitch. I hope you kick the bucket, you racist duck lips. Another one said, yourself, you ignorant racist bitch. Oh, please just yourself, finally. Another one said, KYS expeditiously, nobody likes you at all. The villa got so much better when you left, and I hope that the Department of Homeland Security snatches your abuela by her throat and takes her to Alligator Alcatraz, you dumb hoe.
My God.
Another one said, I hope you get raped and abused. I will ask God about this every day and pray that you experience it.
Like,
these are real messages.
And remember, it's what we said the last time we talked about this. The thing is that there's nothing that a certain type of human being likes more than the feeling of being morally righteous while treating other people awfully, like in the most awful way you could possibly imagine. Yes. And that's what's going on here, which is that people, a certain type of person, has this innate desire to be mean, to be ruthless, to be awful to other people, and all they're looking for is the right excuse to do so, which is why apologizing in this case for if we're supposed to believe that context matters, then the context of what she said initially, which was so frivolous and stupid, versus the context here, which is violent and awful. They shouldn't even be graded on the same scale. And if words matter, it's almost like you're saying that words don't matter, only slurs matter.
That's
because
true. That's what they believe.
They don't have anything wrong with saying something awful. They only believe that something awful is true if it's said against some type of specific group. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, you're fair game to be treated terribly by everyone. And again, they love it. They love the feeling of being able to treat other people like this while feeling morally justified. And that's perhaps the most disturbing thing about it.
Yeah. And you know, you could say, oh, this is just like an online controversy about a reality TV actress. This isn't that deep. But no, this says a lot about human psychology. And this, to be truthful, is how, you know, something like the Soviet Union operated. This is why cults exist and operate the way that they do. People can be manipulated and conditioned to behave this way, to want to see someone brutally killed for wrongthink. That's what this is. And I just don't understand from Sierra Ortega's perspective how she ever thought the apology was going to work out for her. Because even just in a self-interested view, the proper response for your bank account is to ignore this, to not say anything and just move on with your life. People will forget. The internet forgets instantly unless you remind them of it by apologizing. And I am not against apologizing when you've hurt someone. I, of course, think that that's the right course of action when you have hurt someone like a friend, when you have hurt a family member, when you've hurt someone in an interpersonal way. But you can't actually hurt a group of people because a group of people doesn't experience things subjectively.
Yeah.
It's not that complicated of a concept. A group of people cannot feel a certain way collectively. This is a group of individuals, and think about it. Would the vast majority of Asian people be presented with this information and feel hurt by it? No, they would not. And even if they did, they would be wrong to feel that way because they don't know this woman and she didn't personally do anything to offend against them. This tweet was prompted by the controversy. This new generation of influencers doesn't seem to know that apologizing is the worst thing you can possibly do. Apologizing to friends and family is very good and has constructive results. Apologizing to the general public, psychic foregoing of power and identity to an egregore that you must fight forever to get back. In principle, it's always a bad idea.
In the comments, so Jeremy Harbin says maybe she was genuinely sorry, so she apologized and had forgiveness on her heart. Here's the thing, though. Even if that is 110% true, she will never receive that back from a large group of people because you'll never be able to predict how a large group of people will interpret her apology. And let's face it, most people don't. They say it's not enough. Your words are not enough. Next, it's you have to give money to this cause. After that, it's disappear from society, make merch, and then give the money from your merch to this nonprofit, this charity. There will never be an answer to this type of thing. If there's people in your own life that you have wronged, it is not a shortcoming to apologize and own your actions. But if we're talking about large groups of people, it will do nothing to help her. And I think part of it is just, look, she doesn't exist on the side of the internet that deals with this type of backlash on a regular basis. Right. The side of the internet that we find ourselves on is full of callous. Like, it's actually something I find distasteful is the amount of callousness and hate that seems to be in the heart of the average person I see on X every day. And it does seem like the world is that way, but it's the world we live in and you can't really do much to change it other than possibly just trying to bring some positivity from your side of the world. But let's face it, most people laugh in the face of that and find it to be a fool's errand. I don't personally, but I get why the pragmatic person sees things that way. She was always going to lose this battle. She was never going to win, and apologizing was never going to work. The best she can hope for is that you watch old movies and television and they talk about how people love redemption stories. I don't know if that's even true anymore. I don't know if at the very least, this is the type of thing where somehow you're not given redemption from it. What you've said gives you less leeway towards redemption than sometimes things that are worse. Like I said, people would probably look at, what's her name? Theranos lady and give her more redemption than what this lady did.
That's actually true. If you look at the objective metrics, yes. Yeah. You are more likely to get a redemption arc and a puff piece after committing crimes and scamming people than saying a bad word. And the worst outcome of cancel culture, aside from people getting their lives ruined, people losing their jobs or their relationships being destroyed, it's also that it's hardened people's hearts collectively to the idea that they ought to be civil online because they feel like they have to protest against the, cancel mob mentality by being as inflammatory as possible. Yeah. So it's been totally counterproductive against its own stated goals. But as I said last week, the goal of cancel culture has always been suicide. Like, that's what it has always been. Keep going until they kill themselves. Like, that's what it is.
Maybe the idea should be, like, if you're going to apologize, you better be ready to give an individual apology to every single person that requests it, because one will never work.
Just don't apologize. The only two correct responses are staying silent on the matter completely ignoring it completely and letting the tide of internet conversation just pass over you. And it's going to shift so fast because people will just move on to the next outrage cycle before you know it. Or the other response is to capitalize on it, own what you said, say that you didn't do anything wrong. For instance, Ronnie Radke has taken this route. He doesn't shy away from a controversy, and he owns it, and he gets scrappy with people who try to cancel him for stuff, and that's worked out for him.
The average person isn't built that way.
But if you don't want to be, if you don't want to be a lightning rod for controversy, say nothing. Yeah. It's so easy to just say nothing. I mean, I say that. I would find it easier than most people. Most people don't want to feel misunderstood, and that's why she explained herself. But
we
nobody's listening.
We could do a whole video on that, on the idea of the fact that you will be misunderstood is just part of the game now.
One of the responses to her apology video said, "Wow, 5 minutes of talking and not once did she say sorry." Again, you just like don't know the English language, because I heard her say sorry at least 20 times. Not like it matters. Like, reality just doesn't matter to these people. You cannot level with them. You cannot try to stoop to their level. It's not going to serve you well. That's all I'll say.
All right, let's do some super chats.
Not That John Stewart said, I'm on my long weekend. I saw Jurassic Park, Superman, F1. F1 was really good. Superman was fine/meh. Jurassic Park was Dino Slop. Is Dino Slop a good thing or a bad thing?
Like, I mean, I can't hate the idea of Dino Slop, but again, I should have gone to see it. Oh, I didn't, but I'm gonna go see Fantastic Four. We're gonna go see Fantastic Four.
Do you think they served Dino Nuggets?
I hope
at the movie theater?
I mean, if there wasn't Jurassic World branded Dino Nuggies, who even was in charge of the marketing for this film?
They're failing. Shane H. Wilder said, AM radio announcer voice. I'm going to try to do this. You're listening to WPCC. It's Brett and Mary in the morning, making the morning drive suck a little less. And then the random sound effect.
I mean, we're not in the morning, but.
Well, I like to think of it that way. Brian Bledsoe. It's funny how like those radio shows start at like 3 a.m. or like 4 a.m. and they're just like bright and early. Hey guys, like that's a tough
job. Is to show up and be like, they're like, look, can you show up at 4 in the morning? Like, yes. Like, can you show up at 4 in the morning and be annoyingly chipper?
Yeah, it's tough.
Because you're gonna have to go to bed at like 8 p.m.
Their saving grace is that they usually don't have to be on camera. Yeah, they're only audio, so they can look like shit at least.
I wonder if they are. I wonder how many of them.
Do you think they all get dressed properly in the morning or show up in their PJs? And
I remember I used to get shown like all these videos from like the guys and the girls who do like network TV, like anchors and newscasters. And they're like, they always do these videos like common misconceptions. We don't have stylists. We have to style ourselves every day. I'm like, holy crap.
That sucks.
That sucks.
Yeah, the news anchors, the female news anchors especially.
Yeah, they got to do it themselves.
Have a tough time because there are very strict regulations on like what's considered too revealing and like, but you have to be like a certain perfect ratio of slutty. Like it's a very delicate balance.
It's giving CPAC dress vibes.
Definitely. Brian Bledsoe said, Tenet in one sentence. An organization tries to stop the end of the world by jumping back and forth through time.
Yeah, inverted through time, and
that seems simple enough.
You have to watch it
in one sentence.
You have to watch it. It's one of my favorite things is Christopher Nolan basically saying like, he's like, look, it's not gonna make it, like, you gotta like let it happen. You gotta like it's not gonna make total sense, and that's okay. But the thing is like that's perfect for me. Like I'm okay with watching a movie. And if the visuals are strong enough and the acting performances are strong enough, a movie not making total sense doesn't bother me. So in this case, that didn't bother me. The thing that took me out of it was like I couldn't buy Kenneth Branagh as like an evil, time inverted, jumping bad guy, because the music would get ridiculously like serious and dour when he'd be on screen doing his line. I'm like, how tall is this guy? He can't be that tall. Like Elizabeth Debicki is like 6'2", so she was like taller than him in the movie. So it was just very hard for me to buy. I still think of him as what's his name from Harry Potter. So that's like,
yeah.
Dingus
Khan said, you guys should get a sound effects board for super chat responses. We have thought about getting a soundboard, but that would be a whole other project here. We should do that though. Do you remember like last time we talked about that?
It's been a while.
Yeah. Weary Traveler said, my favorite cult is Choice Center. I've never heard of that one.
Is that like Planned Parenthood?
Sounds like it. I don't know.
Do one more.
Shane H. Wilder said, Elmo also dropped the hard R on a few people. Yeah, I couldn't quote him saying that on YouTube, but I did see the screenshots.
Yep. All right, let's hold off on the rest and we'll come back. Let's move on.
Nara Smith is a model and an influencer. She's known for her home cooking videos and lifestyle content and her outfits. And she has garnered an avalanche of controversy. Her critics have smeared her with the label of Tradwife, and they accuse her of being a far-right propagandist and also of being a Mormon fundamentalist. And she has now spoken out in response to all of the criticism on a recent podcast appearance with Jay Shetty. It's titled, actually, in the thumbnail, I'm Not a Tradwife, and titled, They Call Me a Tradwife, but Here's the Real Story. So she has unequivocally rejected the term tradwife. She doesn't identify with it, and yet people continue to call her this because she got married and started having children quite young. She had her first child just a few weeks after turning 19, and now they have 4 children. She's pregnant with their 4th, and she's still working as a model. Her husband, Lucky Bluesmith, is also a professional model. They have this aspirational lifestyle. I think Lucky Bluesmith is a Mormon. He was raised Mormon. Nara Smith has said before that she is not Mormon, so I don't know what to make of that. People think that she's spreading Mormon propaganda through her content. I find that hard to believe. I have never seen her talk about the Mormon faith or even hint at it. But I wanted to show this one clip from the Jay Shetty podcast, which was getting a lot of attention, where she basically responds to people saying that she started having kids too young and she ought to be in the clubs. That's what all of these women say. And it's funny because I presume most of her critics, the feminists who are saying she should be in the clubs, they're probably like women who don't go to the club.
Who goes to the club?
Like they're probably women who are shut-ins, who sit in their rooms doom scrolling all day and hating on people online. Like, I don't think that these feminists who are criticizing
wouldn't that be
her
a funnier thing? They're like,
live the lifestyle that they want Nara Smith to live.
What if they're like, she shouldn't be a housewife. She should be on the internet hating on people.
Right. Like, they should at least be consistent with it. But here is her response.
People hear that I have 3 kids at 23 and I had my first a few weeks after I turned 19. They always freak out and they tell me, why aren't you in the clubs? Why aren't you doing this? Why aren't you doing that? And I feel like they're projecting how they want their life to be onto me. That is a choice I made for my life. That doesn't mean that that's the right choice for you. It doesn't mean that your choices are right for me. And I think everyone is on their individual journey, like judging someone based on their timing of having kids or timing of getting married or whatever it may be is such an odd concept to me. And I never truly thought about that maybe Lucky and I are doing it really early or whatever until I had people's opinions on it. I wouldn't take it back for the world. I think it was the best decision we could have made for us because even though it is hard and it changed our life, we found so much joy in it and we find so much joy in it and we really get to grow and learn. You learn so much from having children, and whether that's patience or understanding or whatever it is, I think I'm at the perfect time in my life to receive all of those lessons from my kids and pour back into them.
It's like there's an invisible force pulling her lips upward.
There's it's auto playing the next
when
one.
People hear that,
Okay. Most of the comments agreed with the sentiment that Nara Smith was sharing, but I did find some responses from radical feminists who completely reject the notion that you should be able to choose to be a wife and a mom. Mm-hmm. They completely reject that it even is your choice. If you believe that you chose it, you're wrong. You're actually so deeply conditioned by the patriarchy that you can convince yourself that you chose to get married when in reality it was forced on you and you don't even know it. So here were some of the comments. It's not about the club. It's about at 19, you are a child, raising a child. You biologically don't fully develop your brain until 25 or 26. So this person thinks that at 19, no one is capable of raising a child because they are still a child.
I mean, this is like when Kellen,
totally modern mindset.
Kellen would talk about like wanting to raise the voting age because, you know, like kids aren't mature enough these days. And I'm like, I don't agree with lowering the voting age, but at a certain point we have to stop infantilizing people and treat them like the adults they are.
Well, I'm just like, let's take away the vote from as many people as possible. Yeah. But I think him making that point comes from the fact that 19-year-olds in the contemporary age are obviously far less mature than 19-year-olds in the 20th century or before that. That is undeniably true. And I think we need to change the conditions that infantilize 19-year-olds instead of catering to the ways that they have been infantilized. Another comment said, conservatism is going to kill us, and so is choice feminism. So they believe this was very sinister, what she said in this clip. Another radical feminist said, I just saw a Nara Smith video, and wow, it's really impressive how subliminal her conservative messaging is. Like, even as a hater and a decently read feminist, I almost didn't clock the full insidiousness of this recent clip I watched. In this interview, she's saying if it wasn't for other people's opinions, she wouldn't have realized her and Lucky having a baby at age 19 was early. This is so coded. I need to know what conservative PR firm is training her. Straight up schizophrenic paranoia. Like, yes, suggesting to her impressionable followers, disillusioned by autumnal capitalism, I have no idea what that means, that the reason they don't want to have a baby is because society and mainstream media has told them they shouldn't. If you remove the external opinions, girls would want to birth babies young. This is what she's saying they reject as radical feminists. They just cannot concede that this woman is coming from a genuine place. So they believe that she's somehow been employed as a mercenary by some shady conservative PR arm.
How is it that the people who believe everything is a social construct don't believe that the changes in the ages we're having children and all of this stuff isn't also a reason based on our social constructs of today?
Yeah, I mean, if you even look at the upbringing of Nara Smith or her husband, they were both raised in conservative religious households and chose to start marriage and family life earlier than the rest of the population, much earlier than the rest of their generation, because of the values with which they were raised. That's a social construct. It doesn't make it any less valid than being conditioned in the opposite direction by being raised with mainstream liberal opinions. There's nothing subliminal about what she said. It's right in front of your face. I just don't want to live in the same reality that these people live in, where they're constantly looking under every rock for some kind of patriarchal subliminal message. Yeah.
I mean,
it must be a miserable existence.
It's weird too, given the fact that maybe it's just a function of the internet today, but given the fact that most of every normal mainstream avenue these days sends the opposite message, you then have to go down, hunker down and go into the bunkers of the subcultures you don't like to find them. It's not like I would consider Nara Smith an extremely mainstream person. She's not going to like whatever's on TV right now to look for anti-natalist propaganda. You can find anti-natalist propaganda everywhere.
Well, you know, one piece of anti-natalist propaganda is like a TLC show, like Teen Mom. Yeah. Okay? So none of those women who were featured on a reality show like that for salacious reasons were ever accused of spreading propaganda to the masses about having kids too early. Thank you.
Thank you.
Nara Smith is standing on business.
She is.
Now, I guarantee you, if Nara Smith were not attractive, and if Nara Smith were not wealthy and a professional model, none of this commentary would be surrounding her public presence.
Because she wouldn't have the reach that she has.
If she were an average-looking, average-income person living the same lifestyle, having a family on the same timeline as a married woman, no one would be saying anything about it. And it's not just because of her reach. It's because the women who are critical of her are, of course, thinking, if I had the advantages that Nara Smith has, if I started modeling as a teenager, if I had natural beauty that I could use to my advantage, I would be in the clubs. I would be living this hedonistic lifestyle, and what I would do with that is so much more worthwhile than what she's doing. She's misusing her gifts. That's how they feel.
It's so weird, too, because both sides are guilty of believing that the grass is always greener and how they would use whatever they have on the other side if they had it. Meaning, like, how often do we hear people talk about, if I had this person's money, I would do this. If I had this person's... It's kind of like baked into human nature to look at somebody that you disagree with who has more than you and assume that you would be able to do better with whatever it is they have. I don't think that that's a political position. I think that's a human position that most people have. The best thing that you can do is not to be narcissistic, but to be so focused on your own life and deeds that you're not worried about the success or life of others. At least not in any... it's one thing to be analytical about it. It's another thing to let envy control you. It's a path I wouldn't recommend anyone go down. And it's one of those things that I feel like it's formed so early in your life, it's very hard to remove yourself from an envious mindset.
Yeah, they say comparison is the thief of joy for a reason. But I would like to push back on one aspect of what Nara Smith said in that clip. She is trying to stave off some of the controversy by saying, look, this is what's right for me. And maybe it's not right for you. Maybe being in the clubs is right for you, and that's what makes you happy. That's okay. That's okay. Just do what you want to do. I disagree with that wholeheartedly. I think that is a cop-out answer, to be honest. And I think that if she really owned her lifestyle choices and the way that it's paid off for her in her life, she would encourage other women to follow in her footsteps, actually. She would say, I've made a decision that's objectively right for me and for the rest of you. Or at least she could say generally, most of you would be served well to imitate these decisions, right? Rather than going out into the clubs. She's literally saying, well, they all want me to go to the clubs, but, if you want to go to the clubs, that's fine. Go do that. Well, I mean, that almost comes off a little bit like sabotaging them. It comes off a little bit like what people call intrasexual female competition. I think that you should actually discourage other women from living the clubbing lifestyle, being highly promiscuous, even if they claim it's what truly fulfills them. We all know that's not true. Nara Smith knows that that's not true. She's not living the life that she lives because it's just right for her. She's living that life because she believes that's what's objectively good.
I mean, I think that there's a gap in the idea of what her mindset is there. You can live a life that you believe is objectively good and still be the type of person who is not that laser focused on the right and wrongs of others. Like, if she's so focused on her life and what she thinks works for her, look, is there something in her past behavior that has said that she focuses on her material because she thinks it's the right way to live? Like, is that people like the ones who are criticizing her, is that something that they've kind of imprinted upon her? Because otherwise both sides are just putting into her words into her mouth that she hasn't necessarily said.
I think if it were Nara Smith's goal to propagandize people, she would continue just sharing what she continues sharing on social media, the videos of her interacting with her kids, the videos of her dressing glamorously in her home, cooking at home for her family and being happy. All of these things propagandize people more effectively than explicitly saying, you should do this, you should do that. But I think as long as you're in the position where you're on a podcast literally being asked for your take on something, you should just come right out and say that you live your life this way because you think it's the right way to live. That's actually just the truth. And I don't think that she genuinely believes clubbing makes anyone else happy.
I think that it is entirely possible for anyone, no matter what their views are, to believe that their lifestyle is right for them and may not be right for other people, given the culture that we were raised in here in America, which a lot of the times is the, you know, what's right for me is right for me, what's right for you is right for you, that kind
That's
of...
a facade.
I
That's
mean,
a facade.
maybe,
Nobody actually has a relative moral compass. Nobody.
I mean, I would find it hard to believe that there aren't people that, at the very least, don't think deeply.
Everyone believes in objective truth. Everyone believes there is objective right and wrong.
I don't necessarily agree with that. I don't know if I believe that everyone has thought that deeply.
They purport to have relative morality, but that's never true.
I don't know if she's ever said anything that would lead me to believe that she looks at her lifestyle as the proper choice for everyone, as opposed to just being the proper life for her that she wants to share with the world. Now, there's a whole nother discussion we had about like what is a person's intentions when they decide to make content, share it with the world. People have the idea about like, well, when you're doing it, you're asking for attention. Well, be whatever that means. Let's be honest about it. Like, you're taking the time to film something, record it, edit it, put it out there. You want something from this exchange. Now, is it that she wants attention from people that she's sharing the content with? Or is it because she feels that she is sharing a message with the world that is a good one? And at that point, if we're to accept that that is true, does she believe that that message is so good that other choices are wrong? I don't know if I've never seen anything from her, and of course you might know more about her than I do, that says that she has thought that deeply about the meaning behind her message.
If she were to advise people, she would probably say there are a lot of things about my life that are exceptional that I wouldn't tell other people to imitate because... you're not going to be in my tax bracket. You're not going to be wearing designer gowns in your home. You're not going to be cooking bubblegum from scratch because your husband likes bubblegum. You're not going to be making, Fruity Pebbles from scratch for your children. That's not actually aspirational, but there are other aspects that are completely accessible to the public, like being in a loving relationship.
Yeah.
Okay? So she does think that that's objectively the best arrangement for people's lives. And there are accidental properties to the life she leads, which are not accessible to the people who follow her. But that's not really the important part. I think people focus way too much on her wealth and not enough on the substance of why this woman is at least seemingly happy and fulfilled. If she were in a shitty marriage, I don't think anyone would be commenting on it.
I guess I feel like her choice to make these comments at all about like whatever's right for you is right for you is only coming up because she has been asked to do so, and that I could 100% buy that she could make all of this content and not really think about how another person lives their life because she's focusing on how she lives her life.
The way I interpret it is she's saying clubbing might be right for you in order to cushion the blowback that she's going to get just for existing. And I understand because everyone wants to be relatively unmarred and not be trashed for
I think that's...
things online. Like, obviously she doesn't want to encourage people to trash her and her family, but I see that it's not exactly how she feels. Like, I don't think that's actually how she feels deep down. I don't think she genuinely believes other women are, especially the women hating on her, are happy clubbing. I don't think that that's her genuine worldview.
I guess pragmatically, as maybe this is just my approach to things, like I'll take what she says at face value And beyond that, looking to make assumptions or some type of extrapolation about her greater intentions has absolutely zero to do with my life, so I will move on with my day. But you could be right. I have no idea.
Well, see what the chat thinks. Let's read the rest of these super
Let's
chats.
do it.
Brian Bledsoe said, enjoyed Superman, gave it 4 out of 5 on Rotten Tomatoes. As someone that dislikes anti-hero, morally gray heroes, Superman is almost too good.
I mean, I did think that it was nice to see where the villain is just a megalomaniacal, self-involved, jealous bad guy. And it's not like, oh, well, Lex's dad was a dick to him growing up. That's why he is the way that he is. Sometimes a bad guy's just a bad guy, and that's
Lex Luthor
okay.
has childhood trauma.
I will say, however, that the amount of pets shown in this movie bordered on emotional manipulation and done very, very well. Like when he saves the squirrel, I was like, that's awesome. But later, when we were in like the final scene and like everybody's trying to rush out of Metropolis with their pets, I'm like, this is bordering on Pixar levels of emotional manipulation. I'm here for it, but some people might have found that to be heavy-handed.
Weary Traveler said Elmo 2028. Yeah, he's the nominee for the America Party.
Can't do that, guys.
Brian Bledsoe said Superman and Lex are definitely polar opposites, with Superman saving small animals to Lex deleting people with no thought.
Yep.
Greg Duvier said, so you want to be a rock superstar and live large, a big house, 5 cars, you're in change?
It's a song.
Oh, you meant in charge. Guys, spell check. Seriously, it's important. Shane H. Wilder said, Pascal is just cringe. He wasn't bullied enough as a child, and it shows. Well, the funny thing is, he actually says that he was bullied mercilessly. So how much further could they have taken it? Like, I don't know. These school bullies must have messed up somehow. Whatever said, movie suggestion, Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome.
Yeah, or Ghost. I mean... What? How about this, Mary? Unprompted. Give everybody a movie recommendation right now.
With no parameters?
No parameters. Any movie you want to recommend for people.
I'm going to recommend another one that has Nicholas Hoult about a boy. It's like literally like maybe my favorite movie. I don't even know why. It's like kind of chick flick coded, but it's not about romance. It's like this cute like thing where like Nicholas Hoult as a kid, he's like looking for Hugh Grant to kind of be his mentor and make him feel cool, and like he doesn't have a father figure, so they have this weird friendship, and Hugh Grant's character just wants to be selfish, but he keeps enmeshing himself in this kid's life because he wants to help him and he doesn't understand it. And I just like British movies, I think.
One of the critiques that somebody I thought was really funny, they said one of the reasons why Superman might not do well in like the UK is because the James Gunn style of humor is almost the antithesis of British humor.
Yeah.
It's kind of true. In a lot of ways. But that's what happened when you make movies for a globalized audience. You realize that we don't all share the same cultural values and thoughts. Therefore, movies aren't always going to translate. Sometimes the best choice that you can do is to make a movie that's unapologetically for your local audience. And then oftentimes, you know, especially in a country like America, where there's plenty of people that hate America, but there's also plenty of people outside of this country that love aspects of this country that might like it just because it's so unapologetically American.
I mean, maybe. There's a lot of anti-America.
No, I'm just saying, but like, you don't benefit anyone from going halfway and being like, oh, well, he's like truth, justice in the American way, but not like really. He's actually just kind of like, you know,
He's like a small bean. Like, that's how James Gunn sounded to me. He's like, Superman is actually a small bean, and he reminds all of us that there's a small bean in all of us. Like, I hate that. Gordon Shumway said, just have Michael Shea write a joke about it that Colin Jost has to read. I don't get it. Value in You said, Brett, Mary, I know it can be tough off the cuff, but what is a movie, past or present, that really sticks with you after the end credits, and why?
Before we get to that, Top Gun Maverick made more internationally than it did domestically. It came about evenly. So it made about $718 million domestically, which is a really strong showing. But 776, ironic, could have been 1776, 776 million internationally is nothing to sneeze at for a movie that's, you know, a lot of people attributed to patriotism. But could it be like it's the generic bad guys, and the American message is a little bit less pronounced than, say, the original. But okay, back to the question.
The movie that sticks with you after the end credits? I mean, that's just like any movie that's actually good, right?
I guess I would need more context as to like what you mean by that. Like, meaning that it's kind of haunting, meaning that like you leave it thinking about it a lot.
I also rewatched Catch Me If You Can recently, and I love that movie. In a way, it's not really about like him being a con man and that's like valorized. It's more about him trying to make his way in the world after his parents kind of abandoned him. His parents didn't abandon him, but he ran away and they didn't try to, you know, help him. Like, his dad just kind of checked out. His mom remarried, started a new life.
The Sandlot was a movie that always left me feeling a particular kind of way. As a kid, for different reasons, and as an adult, there's a nostalgia factor as an adult. But I feel that way about pretty much any sports movie from my childhood, like Little Big League, Rookie of the Year, Mighty Ducks 1, 2, and 3. Also, if you guys don't remember, Mighty Ducks 3 had one of the first annoying SJW storylines ever that I remember in a movie from my childhood, which is that in the movie, the girl that Charlie Conway is trying to get with at the school works for the school newspaper and is campaigning to have the name of the school changed because it's a demeaning, they're the Warriors, but it's like an Indian head logo.
Wow. Before its time.
And then, of course, at the end of the movie, of course, she wins, and they change the name to the Seton Hall Mighty Ducks with the help of Gordon Bombay, the lawyer. I always hated that.
Kenneth Hart said, Tim can't do matcha. He has coffee to sell. Try cast brew ice cold, 2 scoops Jocko milk. Milk? I don't know. 2 scoops MCT powder, 3 grams light salt. Great intense exercise mix.
Bro, I'm not doing that.
That sounds disgusting. Sorry. Straight Ribbon 93 said, I like turtles. That's nice.
I like turtles.
Pat the Plumber said, every time an apology video is made, a troll gets their bridge. That's beautiful. Yeah. Kenneth Hart said, Brett took my teenage sons to F1. Solid flick, memorable as a dad because my dad took me to a rescreening of the 1967 F1 movie Grand Prix as a teen.
Grand Prix.
Oh, Prix?
Yeah.
I didn't...
Yeah, like the thing that
What does Prix mean?
That's the name of the racing like circuit.
Oh.
Okay. But like, so the thing that I loved about F1, I think, was that it does something very smart, which is it takes all of the nuances and the minutia of F1 racing and turns them into a reason to get invested in the film, like race strategy, all of these things that someone like me who has never watched F1 or indeed any car racing at all would find interesting when it's told in a creative way, meaning that there's like when you think of like what racing looks like on the macro scale, it just looks like cars going in a circle. Granted, Grand Prix is not, or F1 is not necessarily like that, but when you think of NASCAR, you think of people just going in a circle. But F1 talks that like there's a team element to it because it's two cars on a team that are competing, and there's work between them. There's track strategy and all of that stuff. And it really works to make the world feel real and lived in and tie it to something that is tangential beyond just the idea of the unique story about the hero who needs to get his second shot at fame and glory after a bad accident when he's younger.
We have a 20 from Waffle Sensei. The squirrel saving scene actually really bothered me because I was counting the moments where Superman actually allows or can't prevent people dying, and like 50 cars with people get smashed at the moment he saves the squirrel.
So here's the thing. At least in my interpretation, when you watch movies these days and they have these cataclysmic events where cars are thrown and weapons are fired, unless you see somebody dying, I feel like the story is supposed to be that nobody got hurt.
Right.
Like, have you ever seen, my favorite meme is like, it's the guy looking like this and it says, me watching Superman throw my 2011 Scion that I'm leasing at the bad guy and miss. Like, you're not supposed to assume that it hit anyone unless, of course, you see somebody actively dying. And that just plays into the slop factor of what most entertainment is these days. Now, one exception I will say is there are definitely scenes in Batman vs. Superman, which I rewatched recently, where he's firing from like the 50 cal on his Batwing and cars explode and there's bad guys right there. I'm like, okay. Dudes died, and nobody's assuming that they didn't.
It looks like they are re-showing I Know What You Did Last Summer in theaters soon.
The original. I shot a short today. I don't know if they even posted it yet. They made these viral, I guess they're supposed to be viral clips of the fishermen from I Know What You Did Last Summer walking around New York City like chasing after people, walking briskly. And much like Ghostface in New York City, it's just not scary in New York City during the daytime. So if that's supposed to be your viral marketing strategy, your viral marketing strategy is ass.
Shane H. Wilder said, had someone say that an old family recipe called a chicken a la gook was racist, I'm like, that word is also an adjective. I will not apologize.
Okay.
That's interesting recipe name, though. Wonder what it is.
Somebody said that short did come out. Yeah, I was looking at clips from the original. Like, if you want to take it to its logical conclusion and talk about the fisherman during the... Have you ever seen the original I Know What You Did Last Summer? He's got the long...
Well, I haven't, but that's why I was thinking about seeing it in theaters if they're showing it again.
He's got the long trench coat, the rain slicker that goes all the way to the ground. He's got the hat. The collar is pulled up the whole way so you can't see his face. And the whole thing is like he's filmed in shadow and he stalks like Helen in the dress store or whatever store it was that her parents owned in that movie. But there's even a scene during the day when Helen is on a float at like the town parade and she looks up and the fisherman's on the top of a building. So it's still during the day and he just like puts the hook up like this next to his face and his face is still covered in shadow and it's overcast out. So there's atmosphere around it and it's kind of scary the way they do it with the music. But then you just see him like walking briskly during the day and I'm like, these people have no idea what made this movie special.
Like, granted, he's running errands.
Yeah, like, granted, it's not like I Know What You Did Last Summer was some masterpiece. My love for that movie is tied entirely to it being part of my childhood. It's not like it's viewed as a classic. But given the fact that it is like from that 90s era of like teenage slashers, you might enjoy it.
I was thinking it might be up my alley. I'm not sure, though.
And the violence isn't too over the top.
I don't really care about like gore in movies that much. It's more like psychological horror and graphic sexual content that I steer away from.
I don't remember if there's any. I mean, there is like talk of sex in the movie. I don't remember if
That's not. I just mean if I actually have to watch something.
I don't remember there being any nudity.
Not that Jon Stewart said, so IMO Dino Slop consists of lots of dinos. Plot and reasoning from the humans is secondary or tertiary. The CGI was fine. The music was good. Shrug. Pop Culture Junkie said, I've been meaning to say that you folks have a bit of old school AM morning drive vibe going on occasionally. Kind of warmly nostalgic for me.
I like it.
I love morning shows on the radio. I don't really turn it on anymore. I was in a phase a couple of years ago where I was listening to the morning radio.
Yeah, you would talk about that.
But it was like, I don't know, like not as good as listening to a podcast, I guess. Shane H. Wilder said, excellent radio voice. Since it is a morning show, it would have to have a wacky name like, you're listening to Ghost Girl and the Dude on WPCC. Down your matcha and Taco Bell and get to work, you bum.
I feel like the Dude is copyrighted from The Big Lebowski, so I probably won't be able to do that.
Gordon Shumway said, I bet money that a lot of these women commenting on Nara's video saying she was too young to have kids watch 16 and Pregnant and call those girls brave and strong. That's exactly what I'm saying. The teen moms, did they ever get hate for promoting their lifestyle? Like, come on now. Kenneth Hart said, Granddad took my dad to that 1967 movie when he was 13. It's becoming a tradition, bro. 3 generations of F1 fans. Sorry about disjointed chats in between stops.
That's okay.
No worries.
If you didn't get a chance, again, I've never been one to watch tons of movies on race car driving, but I really enjoyed Gran Turismo in 2023. It might be worth checking that one out. Mary didn't. I did.
I guess it was tolerable.
Look, guys are going to always have a soft spot for sports movies.
It was fine.
They will.
Kenneth Hart said, PCC fun fact, Christian Horner of Oracle Red Bull Racing F1 fame is married to Jerry Halliwell, a.k.a. Ginger Spice of the Spice Girls. She still looks great.
Okay, then.
Ginger don't crack.
Ginger was the old one, too, right? She was. Jerry.
I didn't know there was any...
It was Ginger, Posh,
Scary.
Baby, Scary, and Sporty. Ginger was the one that was...
There's a sporty one?
There was She was the one that could actually sing.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
Ginger Spice was definitely older than the rest of them.
Oh. Kenneth Hart, Omega Red Fan said, I had a club joke, but feminists ruined it. Sorry.
Like, who goes to the club these days anymore anyways? Like, am I just old and just am not connected to the times?
They exist.
Like, I think about, like...
I don't know.
Like,
someone's got to be going to the clubs.
I remember, like, watching an episode of some show where they were talking about, like raves where you all wear headphones that are, like, Wi-Fi headphones or Bluetooth headphones that are all connected to a DJ playing. And they're, like, so, like, there's no noise. Mm-hmm. But everybody's like on drugs with like Bluetooth headphones on. And I'm like,
but then it's like, why don't you just play the music out loud?
So I guess to prevent the cops from getting called if it's not at a sanctioned venue or something like that.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. Or it's just because everybody's these days is isolated and stuck in their own world and they don't want to actually experience anything with other people.
But if you're on ecstasy, it makes you want to interact with people. So that's puzzling.
Silent raves.
The Manic Mustache said, late as usual, but apropos to this beautiful day, my baby boy was born with a mustache. Sadly, it's the Nittler one. Stay toxic, my friends.
Well, hopefully you shaved it off.
I find that a little hard to believe. Shane H. Wilder said, About a Boy is a good movie with a great soundtrack by Badly Drawn Boy. Listen to his albums Hour of the Bewilder Beast and 1 + 1 is 1.
Somebody posted a meme of the cover of the movie My Girl, and they said, "This looks like a cute movie. I hope something tragic doesn't happen at the end. That would sting."
Pop Culture Junkie said, "Love the scene with Jennifer Garner in Catch Me." Yeah, I didn't remember her cameo when I started it this past time rewatching, but she was good. It's kind of a dark scene though. James Pauly said, Sandlot was filmed just down the street from where I am sitting in Ogden, Utah. Love that movie. I remember when they were filming it.
That's awesome.
Waffle Sensei said, no, I totally hear you, bro, but those cars were moving. People were driving.
Well, then you know what? Then you want to know why they survived? Because in this world, metahumans have existed for a long time already. So technology has advanced so far that the airbags are quantum meta airbags that will protect you if the car is thrown in case of, Lex Luthor getting a kaiju to throw your car somewhere.
Not That John Stewart said, radio name, Ghost Girl and Bread in the Morning. Okay. I like how they all end with in the morning. That's my favorite part.
That works for me.
Shane H. Wilder said, chicken a la gook is similar to chicken a la king with chicken with wild rice. It takes 2 to 3 hours to cook. It tastes better as leftovers.
Oof.
You know what else does? Pizza. I'll say it.
What does?
Leftover pizza tastes better.
I'm kind of with you on that. Yeah. In a lot of ways.
But you're crazy because you like it to be room temperature. That's absolutely
not
disgusting.
Cold. Yes.
That's unacceptable.
Room temperature.
Yeah.
Yep. All right, guys. Before we go, would you everybody here please hit the like button on this video and subscribe to the channel if you are new here and you have not subscribed here yet already. It is the best way to start the week is by subscribing to this channel right here. Mary, where can they find you?
You guys can send me validation on Instagram at Mary Archived, or you can send me hate on X. That is also Mary Archived, and help me get TikTok famous. That is also Mary Archived. It is kind of popping off on TikTok unexpectedly.
Good.
So that's good news. Yeah.
All right. If you guys want to follow me, I am on Instagram and on X at Brett Dasovic on both of those platforms. We are here 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is, of course, always noon Pacific. We are on Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, Pandora, and Spotify. If you would like to listen rather than watch the show, you can also rate and review on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify, which is another great way to help the channel out. And if you want to follow us on social media, we are on Twix at popculture_show, Facebook at Pop Culture Crisis, Instagram at Pop Culture Crisis Pod. I think there's a couple more there.
Waffle Sensei said Superman was a great movie, and anyone who says differently is allowed to be wrong.
Well, here's the thing, guys. I'm the crazy person who says, you know what? You can dislike the movie, I can like the movie, and I guess neither of us are wrong because it's subjective. And I'm always kind of shocked at how angry subjective movie opinions get people on the internet.
I know that you've liked objectively bad movies, but it never made me angry.
I mean, that's because me and you know each other, and like people on the internet don't know you and just want to be mad about something.
Pop Culture Junkie said, agree with you on the pizza, especially deep dish. I've still never had deep dish pizza in my life.
We'll have to
do that eventually.
Pat the Plumber says, Brett, is my cat not cute enough for your show? Rude. You were literally next in line for Cute of the Day
but
tomorrow.
Now you're off.
But now I might have to rethink whether that's going to happen because you're just being rude down in the comments.
Mm-hmm.
All right, guys, we will be back with another episode tomorrow. We'll see you guys then.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.